You're listening to Jyuni the Apostate. Hello, friends. I know it's been a while since I posted anything, and I do apologize for that. I truly have no excuse at this point, other than life has been busier. I started this channel in the fall of 2020, beginning the productions around early summer, back when things were just a little less hectic, and some of us were still kept inside for obvious reasons. So what to do with all that extra time? Start a YouTube channel. That or found something else to keep ourselves occupied. But I mean, we all had to try to keep ourselves sane one way or another, right? Anyways, ever since then, I slowly grew my audience and have finally reached the 100 subscriber count. Which I have to admit, I never thought I'd ever see these numbers. But I thank you all so much for continuing and supporting what I do. Whatever it is that I do. Now, I've gotten a lot of recommendations to open up a Patreon, but I'm not sure how I feel about charging people per month since I'm not really consistent right now at the moment. However, I do plan on doing a monthly video. Starting today. I promise. So, instead of the Patreon, I'm going to be opening up a Ko-fi account. And there you can tip me however you deem me worthy for. And I am also going to be opening up my Amazon wishlist. So if you are intrigued to go ahead and support me that way, there you'll find a number of gifts that are under $12 because why not? Either way, you are going to be supporting the channel or supporting me in whatever I do. Especially when it comes to my art. I do that a lot more than I do with my content. But speaking of things getting busier, remember the time 2 years back? Yeah. Me too. And it seems like we can't take a break from chaos. I couldn't say it was a normal day. That'd be too cliched. And it was far from being just another day. And sure, we kind of had the same morning routine. Get up, have a breakfast of choice, and head out for morning deliveries. Now let's add that with a side of daily briefings from our NPR station. Well, let's just say we frequently updated ourselves with all the COVID news since the start at Wuhan. And on top of it all, our daughter wasn't feeling well. Let's just say she had been home for a week with what the doctors just call an abdominal cramping. I felt bad because after all that testing and imaging they did on her, there was no real clear answer to what she had. So when we collected enough money, we went to the mall, plugged in the car, and went to go buy that Splatoon plushie that she's been wanting, and this pair of sneakers. Hoping that it at least put a short smile on her face. Her birthday wasn't until April, and I didn't want to wait till then to give it to her. When I got back to the car, my partner informed me about an email that the school district sent out. Immediately, I recalled the earlier broadcast we were listening to regarding the sudden rise in cases. We heard that Illinois was soon to close schools, but I didn't think it was going to hit our school district. Back when my partner and I were in high school, not even the biggest snowstorm was able to close the school down. We had so many plans that were left for the remainder of the school year, including a culture fest we were leading. All that preparation just went down the pipes. At that point, I'm sure some of the country felt that things weren't going to be as bad as China. There were even local St. Patrick's Day festivities going on. I think even restaurants and stores were still open. And don't get me started on the spring breakers, because they were having none of this. They were enjoying the year like it's 2019. And once it got to the UK and Italy, we prepared ourselves before the rest of the public panic buy that occurred later that day. And even though they planned to keep the schools closed for 2 weeks, we had a good feeling that it was going to drag out to the end of the year. So, instead of stocking up on a bunch of toilet paper, we got some school supplies to prepare ourselves for full-time homeschooling. And snacks, of course. You can't forget about the snacks. But out of curiosity, we did stop by a couple of big-name stores like Walmart to see how bad the lines were. And boy, were they long. I seriously never thought that toilet paper would be people's go-to in a time of panic. I can only imagine if there's still someone out there with at least one more package left from that time. The next couple of days, people continued stocking up, learning that some non-essential stores and restaurants will no longer be open either. It was later classified who was still going to be open and who was going to be staying home. I wasn't too worried about it because I was working part-time as a gas station clerk alongside with being a Uber driver slash Instacart delivery driver and a dental office. And of the three, orthodontics was not considered essential enough, unless it was an emergency with ortho or pediatrics. The only problem was the doctor I was working with was immunocompromised, and understandably, he didn't feel safe to go to work just yet. And with that being said, I realized that a lot of people didn't have exactly what I had. The flexibility of a bunch of other jobs. And there was a bunch of people who were still working at school, heading there every day to prepare lunches for families. Each day something different. Small, but I'm sure it made a huge difference in some families. It was something a lot of us take for granted. And yes, even Callie had some. And this inspired us to kick into gear and make masks for those who were working. Masks at the time weren't mandated, but we were already used to wearing them. Not too long ago, we had a family member who was also immunocompromised, and mask wearing was a must to help prevent him to catch anything from us. We just wore them anytime we may be feeling sick, but that was us. I once was picking up a delivery, and a woman commented on my mask saying, masks do nothing. Why are they even bothering with having one on? Little did she know, it would soon be mandated later. By the 16th, restaurants were either closed or open for delivery only. Malls were completely shut, and this one in particular is one I would go for charging. What was once a bustling place was then turned practically silent. Even the roads were a bit more quiet, almost peaceful knowing that there was less traffic. And parking lots was like an open field to run around with our dogs that we got back in January. And the car that we got back in February, it almost felt like it was just out of sheer luck that we got before the lockdowns. Which told me that you can never be too prepared. Sometimes waiting can be more costly than acting on an investment now. One thing is for certain, this part of history is like two sides of a coin. Or three, depending on how you look at a coin. On one side, some of us managed to somehow get through this, and can say that we've survived the pandemic. On the other hand, we've lost so much after much back and forth bickering about what's the right thing to do for the betterment of humankind. Some have also found a new way of life. Some learned that they're worth a lot more than a simple cog in the economic capitalistic machine. And others, well, we've lost a few to certain rabbit holes, which makes me wonder how this would play out on a deadlier scale, like a war at the homeland, like what's going on in the Ukraine. Only time will tell if we can get through things right. After all, this might have just been a test. On the positive note, you can say that us humans have pulled together and somehow find a way to still keep ourselves connected even through the lockdowns and physically distancing ourselves. I've met many new friends even through this new methods, including many people here in the atheist and LGBTQI+ communities. I want to thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to the channel. For more stories like this, you can go ahead and click on any of the boxes next to the icon. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you next time. And as always, be you and embrace in self-love.